welcome. I am Lee Hopwood, CEO here at the CCMA, and I am joined on screen by Jackie Pringle, Director of Awards. How are you doing, Jackie?
I'm good, thank you, Lee. How are you? Can't believe it's this time of year again already.
I know, it's slightly nuts, isn't it? It's slightly nuts, but
Completely.
really pleased to see so many of you joining us today and ready to hear some highlights and advice for entering the UK National Contact Centre Awards 2024. 2024, where did that happen? Right, so we've got an exciting 45 minutes lined up, and hopefully I have got everything working on the technology side of things. Lee and myself and Jackie are going to be hosting you for the next 45 minutes, and we have some guests along the way, which we will talk about in a moment. What are we going to cover? We're going to fly through some of this stuff, but don't forget we are recording this session, so you can always go back and revisit some of the things that we're saying. There's obviously more information on the website, ukncca.com. And also, if you've got any questions throughout the whole of this session, then please do feel free to use the Q&A or the chat. We will be watching that, monitoring it, and we will try and answer those questions as we go. Any that we don't get to, we will take offline and either come back to you directly and or share them through the social media, and also look to put them on the FAQs. So please do look out for that. So we are going to go through what is the UK National Contact Centre Awards. We're going to take a look at the categories. We're going to give you some advice on how to start, and Jackie is going to walk you through the process. And then really excited that Jackie is going to be chatting to Victor and Alice, two winners from 2023. And then we're going to have a look at the judging process, and I'll be speaking to Stephen Lee, who is one of our head judges. It would go without saying that we're going to, of course, mention the awards evening and just share with you where some of that support is available. And we plan to finish the session with the highlights video, so please do stick around for that. So without further ado, what is the programme? Well, if you weren't aware, the awards programme has been going for about 29 years. A long time, and it's known for really focusing on people, and this year is no different. We have made sure that there are plenty of categories to recognise the individuals in your organisation, but also the teams and some of the programmes that you've been working on. It has got a very strong reputation because of its comprehensive judging process, and that process is two-stage, and Jackie will be talking through that a little bit later. And part of the thing that makes that judging process so credible is our expert industry judging panel. They are all volunteers that give up their time to come and hear your stories. They are really experienced both in the sector and also in judging, and many of them are past winners. So they're all people that are running or have run contact centre operations. Leading on our judging are our 5 head judges: Pam, Jason, James, Sarah and Steve. And we're going to hear from Steve a little bit later on. And they are all people that have been through the programme. They have won, they have participated, they have judged for a long time, and they are really helping us to make sure that the process is strong, robust, credible, and they also just make sure that the whole experience for you as nominators and finalists, hopefully, is a great experience. So which categories have we got this year? So there are lots of individual awards, and we're really looking to find people from across the contact centre operation to find those brilliant folk that you work with, or maybe it's you, maybe you nominate yourself. One of the categories I want to call out this year is the Sales Team Manager of the Year. It is a new category. Previously we've had a lot around service. This year we are calling out sales. And what else can I tell you here? Don't forget on the, we also have the Rising Star Team Manager of the Year category, and that is for the team managers that have been in post for less than 12 months. So we do look out for that, and so do consider that one. The other one I want to call out on this screen is the Significant Contributor. So we are really looking for the person, not advisor level, but the person in your contact center who is really making a difference to your operation, to your customers, to your people, maybe to your community. So please do have a think about who that brilliant person might be. We also have team awards. Now, there's not a great deal of change here, but one of the categories that I do want to call out is the Leadership Team of the Year. It is a new category last year. It was a popular category, and it is a really good opportunity for you to consider recognising either your very senior leadership team, or it could be a leadership team within the contact centre. But again, there's an opportunity for everyone in the team awards. Where there's a bit more change is in the organisation awards, and you will see here that there is a lovely new icon next to 4 categories. Best apprenticeship programme, this has come about because of the feedback from the members at the CCMA, where we're just hearing more and more people using apprenticeship programmes to bring new talent into the industry and also to continue to develop that talent. So let's see if we can find the best apprenticeship programme in the contact centre space. Most effective way of working. This in the past has been best home working, it's been flexible working. We've kind of brought all of that together and said, right, what is the most effective way of working for your organisation and how are you finding those results? So a slight change there. The other one to call out at this point is the Giving Something Back. And this is for the organisation that is doing something charitable, whether it is within the contact centre, whether it is within your community. Where are you giving something back? It was really popular before and actually during the pandemic, and so we've thought, well, actually let's bring that back. And a new category, brand new category this year, Best Approach to Supporting Vulnerable Customers. Now, we know that everyone has vulnerable customers. We know that everybody is going through the challenge of working with customers that are not having a great time. And we want to really recognise the organisations that are really getting that right, because I think there's opportunities for the rest of the industry to learn from that. So hopefully these are categories that resonate with you, and maybe you're already identifying one or two that you might want to enter. So, Jackie, I am going to hand over to you because you're going to now talk us through the stages of judging.
I am. Thank you, Lee. And thank you for that brilliant explanation of those categories. So hopefully there is something there for everybody. So yeah, there are 2 stages to the judging. So first of all, in the shortlisting round, so when the portal closes and we've got all your entries, the shortlisting judges will review all of those, will identify the finalists from that, and then will inform all those nominations within 4 weeks of the closing date if you are going through to the next round. That sounds very X Factor, doesn't it? But okay. And then the judging to find the winners. So we will interview the finalists in the individual categories on Teams or Zoom or similar in a virtual environment. And you will have probably 2 judges that interview you, and they will talk with your manager as well as part of that process. Teams and organisation finalists will be invited to do a short presentation to a panel of judges with a Q&A at the end of it, again on Teams or Zoom or equivalent, whatever suits your platform within your workplace. And then the Best Contact Centre Culture category, you'll be invited to showcase your operation to judges who will actually come out and visit you. So with that category, we always say that the judges want to smell the coffee, look in the whites of people's eyes, see what's up on the walls, and actually feel that culture. So that's how we will do that one. We are very open and transparent about the judging criteria, which I'm hoping is going to appear on screen in a moment, because when judging, when reading your nomination or listening to the finalists' presentations, or when they're asking you questions during the next part of the process, the judges will be looking for this judging criteria. So when you are completing your nomination forms, your entry forms, my first piece of advice is to check that you have addressed each of these points, because this is what they are looking for. And like I say, that is on the entry form, and then that's at the next stage as well, whatever your next stage of judging looks like. If you are finalists, of course, we'll give you extra advice on how to focus your time in that presentation or on that visit or in that interview, but this is the criteria that will sit behind it, okay? So there are 5 steps to nominating. And obviously, it's really important to make sure that the right people are nominated, the right teams, and the right pieces of work. So, you know, now might be that time of year where you've just done year-end appraisals and you're exceeding, you're outstanding. Those kind of people might have been sort of shook out of that process, or however you do that within your organisation. Just think about the ways of identifying. You might just actually want to sit in a room and talk through who is it that we should be putting forward. In some organisations do have a central gatekeeper, and I do think that that's a really good idea. You'll be surprised the number of organisations that actually get to the finals and they didn't know that they were up against somebody else from another part of their organisation. So if you're a big organisation, it is a good idea just to try and coordinate internally. I would share the categories and the dates across your organisation. If you've got a comms team or a coordinator that's leading on this, then you might even want to put calendar invites in people's diaries, you know, for the 17th of June, could be going to Old Billingsgate and that kind of thing, and really sort of build the excitement. You know, reach out to all the areas within the organisation that might be suitable for each category. So you might want to be talking with your HR teams, you might want to be talking with your support areas to see who they want to recognise. You know, hold a webinar like we're doing now with your heads of departments. Because remember, like Lee said, this webinar will be available as a recording, so you could share that accordingly, you know, if you want to. So those really, but just go for it, you know. Easy for me to say, I know, but absolutely. But maximize those internal comms opportunities to share who's been nominated, who's won, and it is okay to nominate yourself. Plenty of previous winners have done that. Okay, but do note the deadline, because the deadline, we don't extend it. You'd be surprised how many people ask me in that last few days, but we never extend the deadline. So your entry does need to be with us by the 23rd of February 2024. You can make as many nominations as you like. You can enter as many categories as you like. There are no limits. Of course, CCMA members get their entries for free. It's one of your membership benefits. If you're not a member, there's just a small charge for entering. It's £299 for one entry, £150 for each additional entry. If you are interested in joining, then it says on there to contact Laura or visit the website and we'll put you in touch. And if you decide to join, we'll just waive those entry fees, so it'll come off. Sometimes it's a no-brainer. So, but yeah, please do remember that deadline, because we won't be extending it. Okay, so just to talk you through the process then. So you will go on to www.ukncca.com. It's not the CCMA website, but you can access it through, you can access the awards portal through the site. It is really simple and easy. It really shouldn't take you more than 30 minutes. But we have moved to a new and easy to use portal. So the first thing that you will do is register for an account. So I'm just going to show you what that screen will look like. So it's very straightforward. This is what it'll look like. You log in or you register here, okay? And then on the next screen, you will then pick your category. So it gives you some general information here, okay, about dates and the support. And this is where you'll actually start your entry, okay. So when you pick your category, which you'll do here via this drop-down screen, and this is also where we will ask you if you are a CCMA member or not, so that we know whether to invoice you or not after the closing date. But when you pick your category, there will be a handy reminder of the description that will appear, and you'll have an option to download a PDF version of the blank entry form, which can be really useful because you might want to work on that internally and share it internally. You know, we do get asked for that a lot, so that's a great feature of this awards portal. Okay. And then we are going to ask you for some basic contact details as the nominator. And if the nomination is for an individual, we will ask you for the nominee's details as well. And then at the bottom of the page, you can't see it on this screen, but there's just a red next button, and you just sort of keep clicking that. And then you'll complete all the relevant questions, which will vary by category. So you can see an example there of what some of them might be on the organisation form. And then you'll get to the main two questions. So there's just two big questions to answer, whatever the category, okay? And you've got 750 words that you can put in each of those boxes. So we're going to get some tips in a moment from one of our judges, but as you've only got 750 words, my advice is to make each one count. Make the content clear, make it specific, make it easy to read. You want to write it so that it's compelling, so that it's really going to get the judge's attention. Okay, so that's your kind of main part and your main body of the nomination form. There is an opportunity to include links to website pages, to videos, or to documents. So for example, you might want to attach an organisation chart, you might want to attach some survey data and some results, something like that. But please remember, only attach information that's going to add value to your entry. Don't swamp the judges, okay? Just make sure that it's relevant, it's going to add something. And then you're going to just press save and submit. And once you've submitted, you have got until the deadline of midnight on the 23rd of February to continue to update your entry. So don't be afraid to hit submit so that you know it's definitely in. And you can go back and keep editing it. It's the version that we've got on file at midnight on the 23rd that will go to the judges for the shortlisting round, okay? Any incomplete entries will be disregarded or disqualified, but I'll always get in touch with you to say, you know, did you mean to finish this? Or this one's been submitted, it doesn't look complete, that kind of thing. So, and then at the end, you'll see a summary of your entry. And from here, you can just add as many more as you like by clicking start at the side. So you can see how easy it is to do. It really is very simple. But let's hear from a couple of our winners. So first of all, I'd like to introduce Alice Hunt, who is from the performance management team at Hastings. She won, well, her team won Contact Centre Support Team of the Year. And there you are. You can see them on stage there picking up their award. So welcome this morning, Alice, and thank you for joining us on this webinar.
Oh, thanks for having me, Lee. It's great.
Oh, no, it's really, really lovely because I think people watching this webinar really want to hear from you as to kind of what it was like for you. So I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
So I'm guessing that the category that you chose was fairly straightforward. But what was it about the UK National Contact Centre Awards in particular that attracted you?
Yeah, so it was a really straightforward one for us because obviously we were a support team. The performance management side isn't taking the calls. So there's lots of other categories when you might think you can apply for one or two. For us, it was a very clear-cut category. We had a really, really busy and challenging year with multiple deliveries, and the team had really excelled at everything they had done. And I wanted, as the leader, to be able to benchmark ourselves against the industry, understand if what we had done was as amazing as it felt, or was it comparable to everyone else? So that's why we entered. The awards for me are just the largest and the longest established awards out there. They're ones that we used to participate in other companies that we worked in before. And I wanted to have one that was really credible. So from that point of view, it was the right one too. We've been members for a while, but we've never actually as a company entered the awards before. So it was also dipping our toe in, and quite a brave step when you haven't entered them previously, to just see how it lands. So fantastic that we went on and won.
Oh, brilliantly. And that leads me really nicely into the next question, which is, how did you find the process? So how did you find the entry process? How did you find the judging panel session? Because your category was one where we invited you to come and do a presentation and some Q&A with a panel of judges. So tell us, Alice, how was all of that?
Yep. So the entry process is a little bit daunting because you've got to, if you're self-nominating, you've got to obviously big up yourself. And if you've got imposter syndrome, like so many of us have, you've got to put that to one side. Avoid all jargon, make sure that it's something that's going to make sense to anyone in any industry because the judges are across a group of them. But it was really easy and simple. My team actually did the panel by themselves. The judges were really friendly. They were easy to talk to. The team loved it. So afterwards, when I asked them how it went, they felt able to answer all the questions. They were really excited. The fact that we had nominated them for this award, they felt really rewarded just by the nomination. But when I asked them how the panel had gone, they just said that they had smashed it out the park. So they felt really buoyed up once they had done it. It wasn't the sort of panel where you go away feeling insecure. They felt fabulous.
Oh, do you know, Alice, that it absolutely makes me tingle every time I hear something like that, because we do pride ourselves on the judging experience. And I think that, it's not all about walking away with the prize on the stage as we see on screen there, is it? The fact that people feel amazing after the judging session and that they've enjoyed sitting back and just reflecting on their story and how much they've achieved and telling the judges. And the judges are, as Lee said, they're all really professional, years in the industry, but really friendly at the same time. And because I always think the judges aren't going to get the most out of people if it's too scary. So that kind of really friendly but professional environment is just so important. So I'm really glad that you had that lovely experience. So, and would you have any tips for anybody that's thinking of taking part but isn't sure whether to do it or not?
So I'd say just go for it. If you're a member, it's obviously included as one of your perks anyway. You get feedback afterwards too. So there was another award that we didn't get, and we obviously had some feedback on why that was, which is really useful and helpful for you to move forward with. And for me, it was also the perfect time of the year. So it was the end of a year anyway. You're often doing end of year reviews around this sort of time. It's easy to bring together what you've delivered on. It's a simple process. So yeah, it was just, I would just say, just go for it. Give it a try.
Brilliant, thank you. And how have you used the win and how have you used that opportunity to your advantage, either you personally or the team, or what's happened since? Tell us.
So our team actually changed in terms of our structure around the time of the nominations and the awards. So it's kept us together. This is something that we all won as one, and that meant the award night was just fabulous to all be together. It's, I think, helped validate us and raise a voice for the support centres, not just internally where we are, but I also came and spoke at your conference and just around the support teams and how they can often be in the background, which gave a fabulous response from the audience for the number of support teams that were there that also feel their teams don't get recognised. So from that viewpoint, any support teams out there, this is a brilliant way to get your teams that recognition, both internally and externally, for what they do to make the contact centres possible. So I'd just say that these are a really great opportunity to spotlight on every team or individual that are shining.
I think a lot of winners do tell us that it gives them, either individually or the contact centre or the support team, a bigger voice within the organisation, that all of a sudden they find people from the product team or the marketing coming saying, what are our customers saying? How can you help us with this? And that's wonderful, isn't it? That both internally and externally, like you say, you're getting that recognition and that voice and being able to make a difference, because that's what we're all here for, isn't it? To improve the customer experience and the industry. So try and put into words, last question, Alice, I promise. How did that feel to win on the night?
Absolutely amazing. Just the faces on the team were fabulous. The guest presenter is kept top secret till the night. You don't know who it is till they walk on, but they were absolutely entranced with Claudia. So they absolutely adored it. And it's a good night for recognition and reward anyway. So from that point of view, the team found it fabulous. So thank you.
You look like you were enjoying yourselves. We won't ask about what happened afterwards or the morning after. We'll leave it there. But Alice, thank you so much for sharing your awards journey with us. It's been absolutely brilliant. So thank you, Alice.
Thanks, Jackie.
And now I'm going to invite another winner onto screen with me. So I'm going to invite Victor Chambers. who was one of our team managers of the year from the multi-channel. And actually, he won another award on the night because Claudia, I think you can actually see her saying it to you there, Victor, voted you the best dressed in the room. So is that what she was saying to you at that point, Victor?
I think it probably was that at that point, yes.
Thank you, Victor, for joining me this morning. It's absolutely
all.
brilliant. Actually, do you know what? It's afternoon just because I've not had my dinner. It's actually afternoon. We're past 12 o'clock, aren't we? So apologies, I've been saying good morning. So Victor, just a couple of questions for you. So you were in one of the individual categories. Did you nominate yourself or did your colleagues nominate you?
I was actually nominated by my boss's boss. So an accolade indeed, and a wonderful surprise. But coincidentally, I've been thinking about this question for the last couple of days. And actually, I would probably really admire anyone that did actually nominate themselves. I think 12 months ago or so, I would have thought that that was something that was quite arrogant. But having won an award and knowing what goes into your process, I think that actually nominating yourself speaks of your passion. It speaks of your pride in what you're actually doing. And if you don't tell someone day in, day out what you're doing, then they don't know what you're doing. So your own nomination is a declaration of pride and actually being able to give the best amount of information.
I love that, Victor. I love that. And I think, you know, it's sad, isn't it, that if you think that, I don't know, a complaints manager of the year or a quality manager of the year, a team manager of the year might not win because they've not been nominated because whoever was too busy or whatever, or they didn't put themselves forward. You know, it is, you know, you've got to be in it to win it, as they say, haven't you? So yeah, great first piece of advice. So you touched on it there because I was going to ask you how you felt when you first heard that you'd been nominated, and then how you felt then when you found out you were a finalist. But you've just said it was your boss's boss that nominated you. So straight away you were like, wow.
Yeah. And not only that, but I wasn't actually told that I'd been nominated, and certainly not told that I'd been nominated by that person. So we had done some nominations as a group, and I had done another nomination. And when the finalist list came out, someone said, your nomination has gone through to finalist. And I thought it was the thing that I'd written myself, and which was a DEIB category. And so I was really pleased about that. And then I was told, actually, no, this is a nomination for you by this person. So it was a double whammy for me. I think I took the rest of the day off.
Brilliant, love that. Did your boss's boss give you permission to do that, or shall we leave that one? But what a bonus!
I think once you've fainted, it's okay.
Once you've fainted, it's all right. Go to the restroom. I think how brilliant to go on the website, see the nomination that you'd written around diversity or listed as a finalist, and then see yourself as an individual. That's brilliant. But yeah, absolutely great. So your interview was a bit different. Yours was a one-on-one interview with a lead judge and a support judge, and then they talked to your manager. So how was that for you?
I don't think anyone will believe me. Prior to actually going through the judging interview, it was literally the cold sweat started when I realized I was a finalist, and it didn't end until the interview started. And actually, I found that it felt as though I was having a chat with an old friend, but this old friend I'd literally just met. It was a really nice, interesting, professional, two-way conversation. I think most people go into this thinking, I'm being judged. I have to be on absolutely top form. I have to mind all of my P's and Q's. And it will be like being interviewed for my next role. And it was absolutely nothing like that. We talked about several subjects. We talked about why it was important to me, what I would have done, what I plan to do in the future, lots and lots of things. And I actually got quite a lot from it as well.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I think that there is a message there for anybody watching, isn't there, that don't let the thought of the judging put you off entering, because it's not scary, it's enjoyable and you get something from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant, thank you. And what impact has the win had on your role in your career, Victor?
I happily have remained in the same role. And what this win has done, apart from the enormous amount of recognition I've had from my own organisation and from the contact centre industry, it has allowed me a much louder voice. I always had a voice, but it allowed me a much louder voice. And then in addition to that, it's enabled me to move on to things that I have just as much passion about. So I've remained in the same role because I don't believe that I've done what I want to do in this role. And the things that I do want to do in this role, I'm able to move forward and do those things because of this win and because of the recognition that I've had. So I've kind of moved and taken diversity and inclusion into the contact centre forum and have become, I guess, almost a leading light in that sense, whereas diversity and inclusion was always very widespread. I'm trying to just narrow it down to what it means to a contact centre.
Fantastic. Well, if I was going back to my first days being on the phone, Victor, I would absolutely love you to be my team manager. So honestly, I would. So can you try and put into words how it felt when you won? I mean, if you nearly fainted when you saw your name on the website, what happened when Claudia or the presenter there read your name out, and then next thing is you're on stage with Claudia Winkleman?
It's kind of surreal because you get ready, you get the train, you go to London, you get into a hotel, you're all giddy, you meet your colleagues, and you go to this fabulous, and I really mean fabulous venue. You're all taking selfies, then you sit down and your category comes up and you think, oh my gosh, I hope I get third. And you don't get third. And then you think, can I possibly get second? And you don't get second. And then you turn to your colleagues and you're like, well, I'm here. I've had this amazing experience. I'm already a winner. I've been nominated by my boss's boss and I became a finalist. I've won the world. And then suddenly, because you switch off, in the back of your consciousness, you hear your own name and you don't actually realize until you look up and then your face is on a massive screen. And then you kind of just float through the experience. I don't think anything happened to me for about 2 days. It was just complete. Oh, sorry about that.
Lights have gone off.
It was just completely surreal and magical because every single person that was at our table, every single person in the room, even the people that had been nominated and didn't win, were on their feet giving a round of applause to me. It was like winning an Oscar. It was an amazing, amazing feeling.
Brilliant.
I recommend it.
You recommend that feeling? Well, honestly, Victor, as always, it's just been an absolute pleasure. And I do hope that yours and Alice's experience and advice that you've shared there will encourage people that are listening to this webinar to put those entry forms in. So thank you so much, Victor, for your ongoing support. And we look forward to maybe seeing you as part of this year's UK Awards programme as well. So thanks, Victor. So I'm now going to invite Lee back onto the screen, and Lee is going to give some judging advice and she's going to talk to one of our head judges, Stephen Lee. So over to you, Lee. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. How lovely was it hearing from Alice and Victor? I mean, I'm just sitting there with goosebumps. It's just so lovely to hear their experiences and what participating in the awards program, let alone winning, has done for them and their teams. So some advice. Now, why should I give you any advice? And I just want to give you a little bit more background about me as a person. I have, for the last 20 plus years, been involved in awards in one way or another. I have written award entries and award nominations that have gone on to win. I have been judging on awards programs across a number of different fields, from events and marketing to customer service in different sectors. And I, many years ago, wrote nominations for these awards as well, that certainly one of them went on to win. So I come with a little bit of experience in awards. So my advice to you is, when you're looking at that great nomination, so really getting the attention of the judges, try and tell a story. Classic, start, middle and end. And in that story, try not to waffle. Try and be, as Jackie said, every word counts. So being clear and concise in your storytelling is really important. And avoiding that jargon. The judges and those that are the judges that are doing the shortlisting don't necessarily understand the jargon in your contact centre. It might be specific to you guys. So using as much plain English as you possibly can. Do pull out any achievements you've had, especially if you've got an individual and they have won things from within the organisation, or maybe they've been recognised by customers. So really pull out those achievements. And of course, use metrics. It's one of the ways that the judges can see how you stand out, is being able to see that you have in the organisation categories, being able to show the impact you've had from a quantifiable perspective is really important. And talk about that impact. You went through the criteria a little bit earlier. Do think about it from the colleague, the customer and the operation, and really think about the impact that you've had or the individual has had on those three areas. It's really worth trying to pull out those relevant examples as well. So if you are looking at a particular category, again, it might be an individual category, and really pull out some examples. And if you've got some criteria, the examples that that really pull on the evidence from, it could be colleague feedback, customer feedback, will really help you hit that criteria. Above all, please be authentic. The judges can see straight through people that are not authentic. It's a brilliant industry that we work in, and that authenticity is just rife in our sector, which is one of the things I love about the contact center space. But please do be authentic. It's important, especially if that individual gets through to the next phase, the next round, and then being their authentic selves, bringing themselves to the process is really important. So I am going to invite Stephen Lee, who is the Director of Consumer and Shopper Engagement at EMEA, for the Lego Group, to come and have a chat with me. Hello, Steve. How are you doing?
I'm very good, Lee. Thanks. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Well, first of all, thank you so much for being one of our head judges. It's something that we rely on quite heavily as we go through the process, from looking at the categories all the way through to going through the judging and obviously the winners, and supporting us on the night as well. So thank you so much for your support. So why do you think that people should be entering these awards?
I think the first thing is just to build on what Jackie said, that we are a friendly bunch of people who either have been or are in many of the people's shoes running a contact center operation. So I guess first and foremost, we can definitely relate to the challenges and the opportunities and the successes that we hear through the process. You also heard from Alice and Victor what it really means to be nominated. And to ultimately win an award. But I think it was important what Victor just said there as well, that just getting nominated is winning. Getting shortlisted is even better, and obviously winning the Gold Award. But I think there's lots of recognition all the way through it. And that's enormous, an enormous opportunity for people to celebrate those teams and individuals and really highlight that amazing work that we do and raise the industry as well, because we've got a role to play in making the jobs that we do stand out in the market.
It's interesting, we hold the Gold Winners evening where we have champagne in a lovely venue in London, and in that session I have a chat with some of the winners, and you're right, some of those things that come out, the impact it's had on them individually, as we've heard from Victor there, but also the impact that it has on their team, their operation. It's massively motivating, and it's so lovely to hear that people just they feel like they have won just by getting that recognition. So Steve, so start with the individual categories. What do the judges look for? What do you look for in those individual categories?
I think very much like what you've talked about. I love hearing those stories from people and the individual contribution that they've made, either to continuous improvement or customer focus or being effective. And I think hearing those outcomes that people have actually achieved, the KPIs perhaps that they've influenced, and ultimately the impact that they've had on the operation, and bringing that to life through, as you mentioned, that storytelling, really makes a big difference in those nominations on individuals.
And what about the team and organisation categories? What do you look for there?
Again, very similar attributes, but I guess when it comes to the team, it's how do you demonstrate that you've worked together and it wasn't just one person that was there pulling all the strings, but actually genuinely collaborating together as a group of people. What did you set out to achieve? How did you work with different people across the organisation? How did you overcome the challenges that you might have had along the way? Because I think that's super important that we hear is the real life story. So we all know that in business we come across different challenges and we've got to overcome those. Sometimes we've got to compromise. So how do you get that story across to people so that we can really resonate to it and we can really believe it?
Which falls back into that being authentic. Making sure that story that you are sharing, creating those words that are authentic. No, I'm with you. And so there's Jackie's talked through two phases. There's the first phase of the judging process, which is obviously the nomination form. And I know Jackie has been answering some of the questions that have been coming through, and there are lots of other FAQs on the website. But when looking at the nomination form, what is your advice around completing those two questions? Jackie talked about those two questions. What's your advice there?
Yeah, as Jackie said, you've got 750 words per question, and you've got to make every single one count. But don't then try and abbreviate things unnecessarily, and particularly where you are working in an organisation where we're all full of acronyms, right? And we don't know what your acronyms are, so you've got to spell those out. It's okay to then abbreviate it the second time round, but you've got to make it clear what it means, because otherwise we will get lost and we don't know what it means. So remember that you are talking to a bunch of people who don't know your company, your industry perhaps. One of my tips is write it like you're showing it to your mum or dad. And then can they understand it? And if they can, then there's a good chance that we can understand it as well. Again, don't underestimate the fact that, I run a contact centre for the Lego Group, and we heard from Victor there, who runs a team within an energy company. I don't know much about energy, so you've got to help me understand the impact that you've made, particularly on the industry that you're working on. And as we keep saying, be authentic, keep it real. We don't want to have too much fluff. Of course, you've got to, as you mentioned, Lee, you've got to have the start and the middle and the end. I would also say, add to that and say, think about what is the hook that you want to keep people engaged so that they're looking forward to having a conversation with you and reading chapter 2, if you like, which would then be the interview or the presentation.
Nice, or the site visit indeed. And you're right. And actually, as you were talking there, one of the things that I remember doing when I was writing nominations was, and I follow the same thing when I do case studies. What was the problem? What solution did you have? And what results did you achieve? So almost that, and not being scared to share, this is where we were, or this is where the individual was, this is what they've done to make a difference, to make a change over the last 12 months, and this is the impact that they've had. And I think that storytelling around that problem solution result can also help. What's the biggest mistakes that we see on the nomination forms?
I think it's those things that we just mentioned here. You know, that people don't convey that story, and it doesn't land. It doesn't resonate because perhaps we've used too much jargon, or because we have been so salesy in there that it means that it's actually doesn't come across as true or authentic. So I think just keep yourself grounded in the process, and make sure that you've been true to yourself, your business, the team, the individual that you're representing.
I guess there's also a danger that because there is the opportunity to upload supporting evidence, there is a danger you lean too heavily on the supporting evidence. And I would encourage people to put make sure that your 2 answers are full, and that you don't just rely on the supporting evidence to get the message across. Is that something that you're aware of?
Yeah, completely agree. And you know, we are, as you mentioned, the judges are usually doing this in between doing our own jobs as well. So of course we want to read everything thoroughly. We want to digest it. We want to take away the key points and make sure that we make the right decisions as we shortlist and move things forward. But if someone just attaches in loads of attachments that don't make a huge amount of sense, are we realistically going to be able to really digest all of that information? So, you know, be aware of what you're attaching. Make sure that the attachments that you're putting in there really build on the story. Perhaps you number them in the way that you upload them, and reference them in the actual words that you've got, so that it's quite clear. Now look at attachment number 1, and I know that that's supporting evidence or information that goes for that particular point. So try and make our lives a little bit easier along the way as well, because that way we've got a better opportunity of making sure that we pull out all of those key and relevant points.
Love it. Thank you. Steve, last piece of advice?
I think I'm taking a mixture of what we've heard so far. You know, make every word count. You know, there are only 750 per categories. Don't go over the top with those attachments. We're a modest bunch of people, but it is an opportunity for you to really shout about your success. So go for it. Remember that word, authenticity. We're all human. It's okay to talk about failure. It's okay to talk about the challenges. Sometimes it's the approach to dealing with that failure that actually is the thing that really stands out. And you know, go for it. What have you got to lose? As we've heard from Alice and Victor, the whole process is very rewarding and gives everybody an opportunity to really highlight the cool stuff that we do in our teams.
Thank you so much, Steve. Really, really appreciate you giving us your time today, and always with the awards. Thank you so much. Some great words there. Thank you.
Thank you. See ya.
So you go through the process, you nominate, you go through the judging process, and then it's time to announce the winners. So when and where do we do that? So we do it actually on Monday, the 19th of June. Apologies, that's the wrong day on there. 19th of June, 2024 at Old Billingsgate. It's the 3rd year we're there. The last 2 years have been outstanding weather, and it is such a good night, such a good night. Not only do you get to be there with your teams, you get to see people across the industry, and of course, 3-course meal, all drinks included, dance floor, and we obviously have our celebrity host as well. So it's something really, really worth looking forward to. As you've heard throughout today, you've heard that actually just taking part is so, so rewarding. And there is lots of help available. So there is a toolkit, and feel free to go onto the website ukncca.com. You'll find the toolkit, you'll find a recording of this webinar shortly, and also please do follow us on LinkedIn as well, and Facebook and Instagram in particular on awards night. feel free to give us a call or email us. We are here to help, and the team is here up until midnight on the day of the deadline day. So here all throughout the evening that night to help. And Jackie, I know you've been answering some of the questions before we close off. Is there anything in particular that you wanted to share?
No, I think I've answered all the questions. If anybody's got any more, please feel free to fire them through to me. I do just need to tell you, Lee, because you keep saying the 19th, not the 17th, and you'll have missed it if you come on the 19th. It is Monday, the 17th of June. I know that because I'm flying out the very next morning, which is the 18th. So it's Monday, the 17th of June. The slides were correct. So I will make sure that Lee's there and that we don't miss it, I promise. So, but yeah. No, that was, I hope that everybody that's been on the webinar has found it really useful. It will be recorded, it will be available. I've been asked that a couple of times in the chat. So any last questions, send them through to us via email. We are really happy to help. Oh, you're welcome, Kieran, that's lovely, thank you. And I think we are going to play you the highlights video from last year, just to get you in the mood for this year's programme. So yeah, good luck everybody. Can't wait to work with you all.
Absolutely. So just to reiterate, deadline is the 23rd of February 2024 for the 2024 programme, and awards night is Monday the 17th of June. Yes. I will be there. I will be there. Thank you so much, Jackie. And before we play out with the highlights video, I just have to say a huge thank you to Alice, Victor and Steve for sharing your experiences and your advice, and it's so lovely. I mean, I wish we could have all of the winners on sharing, because the stories are similar but all slightly different. So thank you guys so much for supporting us on the programme and for participating. So I am now going to attempt to play the highlights video. Enjoy and good luck. We'll hopefully see you in June on the 17th.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the UK National Contact Centre Awards 2023.
I just want to say that this evening could be life-changing for some of you in the room.
Sabia's got a long history of supporting the contact centre industry, and we are both proud and excited to be here with you tonight.
Please welcome your host, Claudia Winkleman.
Thank you. It is an absolute honour to be here with you this evening. I have never spoken to this many people. You, sir, will lead the conga. This is the largest and longest running awards programme dedicated to the UK contact centre industry.
I am proud to have been involved in these awards for many years now, and every year I never fail to be impressed by the talent in our industry.
Let's find out who's won. Enormous luck to you all. I know that you're all magnificent.
And the winner is...
By the way, that's the gang to be with when we do the conga. Huge congratulations to Victor, who's officially the best dressed this evening. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, Claudia.
And there you have it. What a night.